Book Review. Virginia Writers Project, Summer 2026. The Virginia Writers Project, Summer 2026 Anthology is an ambitious literary journal that succeeds because it refuses to be confined by a single definition of literature. Rather than presenting poetry, fiction, or history in isolation, the editors have assembled a volume that resembles an old-fashioned literary review in the broadest sense. Poetry, original fiction, historical scholarship, book reviews, student writing, and original artwork coexist in a single publication devoted to Virginia's literary and cultural life. The journal is published by the Virginia Writers Project, a Virginia nonprofit, and reflects a collaborative editorial structure with separate editors for poetry, prose, and history. One of the anthology's greatest strengths is editorial confidence. In an era when many literary journals narrow their focus to one genre or one literary movement, this collection embraces variety. The editorial note openly argues that readers who appreciate one form of writing often enjoy others as well, making diversity of content a virtue rather than a distraction. That philosophy gives the volume an unusual rhythm. Lyric poetry give way to fiction, criticism, student work, and finally substantial historical essays without ever feeling fragmented. The poetry section alone would justify the purchase of the volume. Spanning nearly 90 pages, it presents established contributors alongside new voices, creating a healthy mixture of experience and discovery. Rather than enforcing a single aesthetic, the editors allow traditional forms, free verse, narrative poems, and experimental pieces to appear side by side. The result is not stylistic uniformity, but genuine literary conversation. The table of contents demonstrates the breadth of contributors and subjects represented. The prose selections continue this breadth. Contemporary fiction appears beside a republication of Booth Tarkington's The Fairy Coronet, 1917, reminding readers that literary tradition and modern creativity need not be separated. Likewise, the inclusion of essays on illustration and reading suggests that the editors view literature as part of a larger artistic enterprise rather than merely text on a page. Particularly noteworthy is the journal's commitment to emerging writers. Rather than relegating student work to an appendix, the anthology provides a substantial student section that includes both visual art and creative writing. This decision reflects an editorial philosophy that literary culture is sustained by mentorship and opportunity rather than reputation alone. It is encouraging to see developing writers presented within the same covers as experienced contributors rather than in a separate publication. Perhaps the anthology's most distinctive contribution, however, is its historical scholarship. Nearly 70 pages are devoted to Virginia history, with essays ranging from New Deal muralist Jared French and Richmond's Student Writers Club to Royal Courtisans, J.J. Lanks, and the Academy of Arts. This is considerably more than historical ornamentation. The history section possesses the characteristics of serious research while remaining accessible to general readers, demonstrating that regional history can stand comfortably beside poetry and fiction within the same literary journal. Equally impressive is the visual presentation. The volume is generously illustrated by staff throughout, beginning with its striking cover featuring Jared French's New Deal mural, Cavalrymen Crossing a River, 1939, itself connected to an essay later in the issue. Interior section dividers and artwork reinforce the sense that the publication has been designed as a complete reading experience rather than merely a repository of manuscripts. The editorial front matter also makes clear that illustrations are intentionally created or digitally restored by staff when appropriate, reflecting considerable investment in production values. No anthology of nearly 300 pages can avoid occasional unevenness. Different contributors naturally vary in style, subject matter, and literary ambition. Yet that diversity ultimately becomes one of the journal's virtues. Readers are unlikely to admire every individual work equally, but almost every reader will discover authors and genres that reward careful attention. What distinguishes Virginia Writers Project, Summer 2026, is not simply the quality of individual submissions, but the seriousness of its editorial vision. The anthology is curated rather than merely assembled. It treats poetry, scholarship, visual art, fiction, and student work as complementary expressions of a living literary community. Such breadth recalls earlier regional literary quarterlies that sought to preserve culture while simultaneously encouraging new voices. In an increasingly specialized publishing environment, this anthology demonstrates that a regional journal can aspire to both literary excellence and scholarly value. It offers something uncommon, a publication that readers may browse for pleasure, consult for historical research, admire for its artwork, and return to repeatedly. That combination gives the Virginia Writers Project, Summer 2026, an identity extending well beyond the typical literary magazine. We highly recommended readers interested in contemporary poetry, Virginia history, regional literature, and beautifully produced literary journals. It stands as an impressive example of what an independent nonprofit literary press can accomplish through careful editing, thoughtful design, and a commitment to enduring quality.